Hello everyone. So we are ready for starting our webinar. If you have any difficulty in viewing our screen or in audio, please drop down a message on the chat option. We will see to it that there is no kind of disturbance you are facing. So now we are good to go with the webinar. So let us start our webinar. First of all, I would like to introduce about myself, and I am Santosh Sharma from Outsourcing Pandit. I work as an entrepreneur over here. Basically, Outsourcing Pandit is a Microsoft partner-centric company, and we are into offsite staff augmentation. So we have built our own portal for Microsoft D365 resources, wherein any individual, any partner can log in into the system and view the resources and schedule their interview as per their requirement. We have resources available for Microsoft D365 BC, D365 FO, and also for D365 CRM. And also we have mixed resources wherein they have capability to integrate Microsoft D365 BC or FO or CRM with your Power BI, Power App, and Power Flow, and also with machine integration. So this was a small introduction about Outsourcing Pandit, and if you want to know more detail, you can drop down mail at santosh@outsourcingpandit.com, and also regarding also drop me down a mail at reach@outsourcingpandit.com. Okay, so let us start our now I will be handing over to Rahul Narang, who is our host for tonight.
Hello, each and every one of you on the other side. Thank you very much, Santosh, for handing me over. So, welcome to the webinar. I am Rahul Narang, your presenter for today. Hope so everyone is able to hear me loud and clear and able to see my screen. Just drop me a message if you're not able to do that on the chat screen. Okay. So before starting with, the topic for today is headlines. So before starting with anything, I must say that the speed at which Microsoft has been recently adding features to Business Central and AL is overwhelming. Today, in this very webinar, we are going to look at Microsoft Dynamics Business Central's very cool feature called as the headlines. Basically, headlines gives your role center a very exciting look. So without any further ado, let's address the elephant in the room and get started with the topic for today. Headlines. So what are headlines? So basically headlines are an absolute interactive way to present useful insights to various aspects of your business. Also, headlines provide users with up-to-date information and insight to their daily work or to what may be coming in future. So the main question is, why should one use headlines and what do they offer? Headlines on the role center can boost user productivity in terms of maybe setting users priority in his or her today's work and so on. Also, headlines on Business Central can become the main business feed for the user, unlike anything else before. Not to forget, with Microsoft launching such an exciting feature of headlines, headlines can be the reason why a user will select Business Central for himself over any other ERP systems present in the market. Like every coin has its two sides. So there are some good points and there are some limitations to headlines. Let's have a look at them. What can be better than anything? What can be better than getting your own business's insights readable like a very new newspaper in front of you? Talking about news, headlines refresh the insights every 10 minutes. ensuring you have the latest news on your RC. As we have been talking about, headlines are role center specific. Yeah, it means that you won't be able to view headlines on any other pages apart from role centers. Let's flip the coin and see what we have on the very other side. As we mentioned, that the main purpose of headlines is to work on role centers, so it is not supported by any other page types. It seems like on the pages designed for headlines, the control group has no effect on the UI. I mean, yes, you can use it to set the visibility of the controls beneath it, but it solves no other purpose than that on the UI. Apart from the properties mentioned on the screen, if you can see, there are approximately 5 properties that I have mentioned. All other control properties on the headline part page are disabled. Yes, you cannot use any other properties on the controls of headline pages apart from what is mentioned. Yeah, this is a kind of a limitation from Microsoft. Moving ahead, after briefly understanding headlines, their usage, and what do they do, let's see how do we create one on Business Central. Before moving to the development, let's keep in mind these quick tips. When designing headlines, you must always consider users, roles and interests, and also what the user's work area is. I mean, if the user is dealing with purchasing activities daily, you wouldn't want the user to get insights and news from what the sales department is up to. Also, you can try adding some emphasis or some italics to your headlines. Yes, Microsoft does allow you to do that on the headlines, and this way you can make the headlines visible more clearly and more in an attractive way. Not to forget, you wouldn't want your headline to be all messy on the screen, right? So try keeping the character limit to restricted to 75. I mean, obviously, it's just a way of presenting. You are allowed to exceed as per your requirements. Like too many cooks spoil the broth, you would not want too many headlines to overpopulate your role center. That's it for quick tips. Let's move ahead with some development and see how can we create these headlines, what are headlines and how do they look on the role center. So if you all can see my screen, we are on Business Central as of now on the web client version. So this is a headline. If you see, there is a hi message displayed on the top. So this is the headline which is showing up on my role center. If you see, there are dots on the bottom of the screen. So this is a headline which asks you if you want to learn more about Business Central or not. And if I just happen to click this headline, it redirects me to a new page which opens this page in return. So this way headlines can be interactive along with them being informative. So this is how the headlines look on the role center page. Now let us see how can we develop these headlines for our own purposes and how can we accomplish that in Business Central. So moving ahead, what we will do is we'll go in the development environment. I'll just open the development environment. And if you all can see my screen, on my screen I have pinpointed some pages. These pages are created by Microsoft that are utilized only for headlines. So if you see, there is a headline page for business manager, for order processors, for accountants, project managers, and so on and so forth. So let's define a purpose and then let's start customizing one of the headline pages. Before that, let me show you what Microsoft has given on the headline pages. So if I just enter the headline page of production planner, the 1447 page as you can see on my screen, I'll just go in the design of this page. So if you see there, the page is pretty simple. It just has greeting text and it has a documentation text. So basically greeting text was the one showing me a hi, and documentation text was the one showing me the link to the Business Central website. So the main attraction in this page, when I come on the on open page, is Microsoft has defined some default code. Just to give an overview of what Microsoft has written here. So basically Microsoft has managed headline the headline documentation which we are able to see on the screen. Like the greeting which you get is defined by the your system's time. So if you're logging in the morning, you get a good morning, and then if you're logging in the afternoon, you get a good afternoon, and so on. So that is dynamically managed by Microsoft. And mind well, Microsoft Business Center Rule Center will always greet you after 10 minutes you have logged in. After that, it will then dynamically disappear. Also, the second thing that this code mainly does is, like, there is one limitation of headlines. These headlines are only available to see on the cloud version of Business Central and the web client version of Business Central. Headlines are not visible on the Windows client version of Business Central. So this is how Microsoft has dynamically managed the visibility of headlines such that they're not available in the Windows client version. So let us do one thing. Let us make use of the default Microsoft code and the visibility which Microsoft has set. So we will do one thing. We'll just save this page into a new page and then start a customization. So I'll just define this page on the 50004 ID. I'll create my own name and I'll just append custom on the end. If you all can see my screen, I have defined a 50004. I saved this page as 50004 and then I've defined my own name. Then all I need to do is press OK. So this page will get saved. So I'll navigate to that page in the development environment. So this is the page which we just made. So after making a page and after understanding the headlines on the development environment, let us do one thing. Let us create a purpose for ourselves. Let us see how can we create a headline. So my purpose is to show the production planner that there are some release production orders which will start today. So for that, I need to give a headline to the production planner. So what I'll simply do is I'll go in the page. So for creating a notification that there are some production orders today, I'll create a function with a return value. I'll go in the function. I'll create count of production orders. This function will give me the count of production orders which will be starting today. And just to make the function easier, I'll go in the local variables of this function, define a return value as integer, and then define the variable of a record, which is production order header, which is table 5405. So this is a local variable for the function. So there we are. Now we can go in the function. So this is the function we just made. So now we need to do is now we need to give the count of the production orders which will be starting today. So we can do one thing. We can specify the filter on the status first because I just want to see the released production orders. Sorry. So I'll status will be production order that will be released. I just want to see released, so I'm just filtering it on released. Then I want to see the production order starting today, so I'll just go on production order. Then I'll define the starting date as today, which is today. So I just want to see what production orders is up today. Then simply by doing this, then since this function has a return value, I'll just exit the function with the count of the record which I am getting. That's it. I just save the page and we're good to go. Also, since this is a customized function, we'll define our comment as per development standards. So this shows that this is a customized function. So the next step after creating the function is to create a control which will show me the headline on the role center. So for creating a control, I'll create a text constant. So for creating a text constant for a text variable, sorry, I'll go in the variable, global variable tab. I'll go in and I define the text variable named as custom text, and then just copy this and go and define it as a control. So after defining it as a control, now all we need to do is define the text which will appear on the headline. So for defining the text, we will go in the global variables. We'll move to text constants tab. And why are we choosing text constants tab? Is because Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central supports multilingual feature. So for properly utilizing the multilingual feature, we need to make sure that the text constants work on every linguistic environment. So I'll just define the headline text as, but there are some production orders, there are some released production orders that will start today. So this is the message that I want to give to the role center user. So all I'll do is I'll come here. So the main question is, where should I initialize and where should I define my custom control? So if you see, Microsoft has defined its custom control in this area. So what I'll do is, just for making the thing simpler, I'll define my custom text just below where Microsoft has completed its own controls. I'll use the default function of str number since I have to join two strings. I'll write custom text. Then since I have defined this function with a return value, then I'll just save this page. So basically this is how we are creating the text on our Microsoft, on our Business Central screen. And this is exactly the way which Microsoft has done. This is how Microsoft has defined its documentation text to support the multilingual feature. Since this is a customized code, I'll not forget to comment that according to development standards. And see, we are good to go here. So after doing this activity, we will assign this headline page to our own, to the role center. So this is the role center. I'll go in the role center. So this, if you can see, this is the headline production planner. First control is the part page which Microsoft has defined. Go in the properties. There is a page part ID which Microsoft has default given here. I'll change it to my custom ID, which is the 50004 custom headline. Then I'll happen to just save the page. Then I'll go to the Business Central client, copy my link, just refresh it. So if I go on the second tab, on the second headline, I see that it shows me the production order. Okay, so I have to define the production order text here. Okay, so now we are good to go. So I'll just refresh the link. I just defined it to the wrong variable. Okay, so now we navigate to the second, and if you see, it shows me that there is one released production order that will start today. So this gives me information that I have one released production order that will start today, but I want to make this headline a bit of interactive, like the first headline, like it takes me to a link, right? So to make this headline interactive, I'll go in the controls on drill down trigger, which enables me to drill down on the control and takes me to the page. So for simply enabling the headlines to be interactive, I'll go in the local variables. I'll specify a record variable of production order. Then the code which I'm going to write here is same as the code which I have written in the function. First, I have to filter on the status of the production order, and I want to just see the status of released. Then I want to see what are the production orders starting today. Starting date will be of today. And then all I need to do is run the page, which will take me to the page. So the page for release production orders is 9326, and I'll pass the record variable, which is production order. Just save the page, we are good to go. But before that, since this is a customized code, I'll not forget to comment according to development standards. So this is how we have defined the page. So I'll quickly give you an overview of what we have done. We have defined a function returning the production order count. We have defined a control on the page showing us the text, and also we have defined the code on the on drill down trigger to make it interactive. So with these three simple steps, you will be able to make your own headline control, making it informative and making it interactive. Now what I'll do is I'll go in the Business Central. I'll just happen to refresh the link, and if I navigate on the second headline, which tells me that there is one release production order that will start today, I'll just go to the link and it turns blue and shows me an arrow. I'll just click the arrow and there would be a page popping up telling me that there is one production order that is going to start today. So this was all about how to make your headlines informative and interactive. And this is how we make our headlines on the Business Central. So if you guys have any questions, you can write to me on the chat window or reach out to us on the email ID specified on the screen.
So we now are open for question and answer session. So if you have any questions, request you to write down your questions in the chat option. And also, if you want to know more about outsourcing Pandit, you can also drop down a mail at reach at our. Okay, so we have a question from regarding can we do the same thing on AL code?
Yes, we can do the same thing on AL code. That would be very easier, and it would be in the same way. We'll have to create an extension for that, obviously. Yes, we can definitely do that on the AL code.
So waiting for the questions to arrive. And as I said, if you want to know more about outsourcing Pandit portal, then also you can drop us down email. We will be we would like to schedule a demo for the same. And meanwhile, waiting for your questions regarding. We will also be sending you video recording of this webinar to your email IDs. And meanwhile, if you have any issue regarding, and you want to know in detail also, then also you can drop us down email at reach@outsourcing Pandit regarding the webinar. If you have any queries, we will be also happy to solve on personal basis. You can drop down mail at reach@outsourcing Pandit and also at santosh@outsourcing Pandit, from which you have received meeting invite. So I think these were the questions we have, and I would like you to thanks everybody to give their valuable time and come over here and attended our webinar. And thank you for making our webinar a success. And we will be having a series of webinar. We will be updating our next topic also on our social media account. So you can follow us on our social media account, and you can get to know which other topics we are having our webinar. Okay. Thank you, everybody, and looking forward to join you in others webinar also. Thank you.